Hi everybody, it's Honest John again. Now some of you may already know this, but Ronald Reagan, the great tax cutter, should actually be known as the great tax raiser. Yes, he gave the rich a huge tax cut. But when that big tax cut began running up a huge deficit, he raised taxes 7 times during his 8 years of being president. But not once on the rich. Reagan's new taxes were all aimed squarely at the middle class and, yes, even the poor. This is a tradition that continues to this day in the Republican Party. When Scott Walker and the Republicans took over Wisconsin, the state's budget was balanced. They immediately created a huge deficit by giving tax breaks to their friends, the Koch brothers, and other corporations and wealthy elite. And they tried to close that deficit by cutting benefits and pension plans for nurses, teachers. In other words, he took money from the middle class and handed it to the rich. And they said it would create jobs, but Wisconsin lags way behind the rest of the nation in job creation. And their budget deficit is exploding. Sam Brownback has bankrupted the state of Kansas with huge tax cuts for the rich to the point where they can't even provide basic services. They can't keep their schools open or hospitals. In Maine, Republicans are in the process of raising the sales tax which primarily goes to the middle class and the poor, because they eliminated the personal income tax for rich people. Same thing in Michigan with Governor Rick Snyder. And in red state after red state, the same thing is holding true. Nebraska, South Dakota, and most recently, North Carolina. Huge tax breaks for the rich, followed by increases in sales taxes that are primarily aimed at the poor and the middle class. As a matter of fact, here's the way it works in North Carolina. They've raised taxes, for example, if you bring your car in to have it repaired, there's a tax increase on that. Or if you have an appliance repaired, there's a tax increase on that. But they specifically made sure that the services that the rich use, such as accountants, lawyers, architects, those were excluded from the tax increases. Now, Grover Norquist is supposed to be the great anti-tax crusader. And he goes into a tizzy every time the idea comes up of raising taxes on the rich. But he always supports increasing taxes on the poor. And the fact is that these red states, because they're usually right-to-work states, have the lowest paid workers in the nation. And they really can't afford to have more money taken out of their pay, especially when that money is being directly handed over to the 1%. And now we have 14 or 15 Republicans running for president, and every one of them is campaigning on giving more tax breaks to the rich, which create huge $1 trillion in deficits. Would increase our debt by trillions. But don't worry. They'll ask the poor and the middle class to pay for that too. So if you're planning on voting Republican, what you should do is, Google the richest person in your city or town and go over to his house and just give him your paycheck. That's what you'll be doing anyway. Thanks for listening.